You say you broke into our system just to play a game, right?
Right, that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, but when you heard it on the news, you must have realized how serious it was. Why'd you do it again?
Push the button.
News Talk 1430 WXNT, and you're on the edge of the web with Aaron Sparks.
You're back with Edge of the Web from Site Strategics. Coming back around, we've talked about some mobile development and for your website. We want to talk about news. We want to talk about news on what you can bring to the table for your own website. And we're constantly paying attention to good information that's out there. And what we want to talk about real quick is a couple of items that we want to bring to your attention that you could even bring to your own webmaster's attention or internet developer, freelance developer, what have you. Or you can contact us, and we can certainly sit down with you and we got a bag of tricks to be able to bring to optimization of your website, and this is one of them right here. Mm-hmm. From Search Engine Watch, there's an article just on the 20th of this month, actually, talking about how to actually force Google to recrawl your website. Now, for those of you that don't know what crawling means, the days are long gone that you actually have to submit your website to Google. Okay, it used to be that was part of an SEO firm's service packages. We'll submit you to thousands of different search engines. Well, that was really not really necessary even 5 years ago. The engines send out programs regularly to actually canvass the entire internet sphere of web documents, and they'll kind of go through the site like, that Japanese pinball game that stands up, sorry, it's called Plinko, and you actually drop that ball bearing, and it hits all the nails all the way going down. It'll actually hit a website, go and come even in sideways, and actually hit another page that's not your home page, and it will index, it will follow all the links that are on that page from that entry point, okay? And they do a regular rotation. They'll maybe come back every 30 days or something, every 15 days. Really is based on how often you have fresh new content coming out of your website, okay? So, with that particular cycle, you've got knowledge that your site is being digested or spidered by Google and the other search engines. And one of the things that you do want to have knowledge of now is that you can actually trigger that spider to come back around. Now, you can't really control them, but you can submit some more from new information. So let's say that you added a new page to your website, or maybe a new service,
right, or
a series of services. You now have the ability to actually have Google come back through the site. How do they do that, John?
Well, you actually go into your Webmaster's program, and there's actually a submit index, I believe, that you can apply. Mm-hmm. You give them the URL of the page or the site, and it'll come back and recrawl that. You say, why do I want to do that? There's numerous reasons. One being you might have duplicate content on your page and just recently got dinged by Penguin. Mm-hmm. That's right. You might put new content on there now, and now it's time to ask Google to come back and hopefully get that page back up to the top where it was.
That's right. Or you may, like I said, you may even have some new brand or new resources in a new section of your website. Absolutely. That you'd like to have them come back through outside, not outside of that 30-day window that you want to have them at least be able to pay attention to that content. There's a lot of different reasons why you'd want them to re-index. Now, you don't abuse the system. Don't. Let me back up for a second. You talked about this Webmaster program. It's Webmaster Tools from Google. They provide a free service, right?
Yeah.
And you listeners may or may not know about that, but it's a great service that gives you a lot of insight into what the engines are actually seeing, or more especially Google is seeing about your website.
Yeah, it's google.com/webmasters.
Yep. And if you don't have it set up, set it up free of charge, and you have to put a little bit of code on your site to affirm that you have ownership of that website.
Right.
And it will give you a plethora of stuff. It will give you an idea of search queries that have been typed in that even show your site, not just who have clicked on it, but where your exposure is. On top of that, they'll show you a number of different things, how they're crawling, if there's any errors that they're experiencing that you should pay attention to. You got to understand how the bots are coming through. A lot of times, They're coming through content that you're not even paying attention to. You're thinking the users can see it fine and navigate it fine, right? Mm-hmm. We had one client years ago that their entire navigation was a Flash application that was not spiderable at all by Google. So they may have had 10 or 15 pages to their website, but Google couldn't see that, so they had no placement whatsoever on search engines except for their brand name. So you can understand that you need to know what's happening out there, and they're giving us an additional opportunity to really have a dialogue with them, right?
Right.
You can force recrawls. Usually SEO professionals use tactics like submitting an XML sitemap, or even using a free ping service, or firing a bunch of social bookmarking links to a site. Well, trouble is these tactics are pretty much hit or miss. So this new indexing tool is kind of like inside of Google's wheelhouse of exactly how they want you to actually interact with them. The good news is there's a better, more reliable way here, and this is the submit URL to index. So, last year Google updated their fetch as Googlebot function, where you could actually test and see how your site is being retrieved by Googlebot, and this is just another way of giving access to Google and getting eyes on your website from Google, right?
Yeah. One note as well. Google does say that they will typically crawl it within a day after you do that. The submit URL to index.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Because if you're primed and ready to go, not seeing those results in a 30-day period of time because they haven't come back through their website. Mm-hmm. I mean, the days are long gone. I mean, honestly, whenever we make changes now, which is just amazing, we'll see reaction in days.
Yep.
By Google. It used to take us 6 months to see a trail of changes from search engines across the board, and now it's so quick. But with that quickness comes a heck of a lot of vulnerability. If you misstep, right, you have a possibility of harming yourself pretty quickly.
And a quick time to change that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're still in Google Webmaster Tools here inside of that application. There's a new function as well called a search query notification.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what's a query, John?
Query is a search, basically just a search.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to get too geeked out on it, but that's basically what it is.
Whenever somebody searches on a phrase, yeah, exactly. Yep. So, yeah, I don't want to get people disjointed with that vernacular. It's just whenever somebody's searching, whatever they're searching, and finding whatever they're finding, that's a query. Everybody's interacting with Google. So these queries and what they're doing for your site inside of Webmaster's Tools is they'll give you a report on your visibility, on not the clicks, because that's what analytics takes care of. Analytics shows you whenever somebody has clicked what they're doing on your website. It's more of the performance of your website after they've come there, right? This is actually outside that sphere, and it's showing you where you're even positioning. And if you're in the right market, and on top of that, where your click-through rates are, okay? So you can see that you've been seen for 5,500 times these particular phrases, and as you optimize, you can also have a comparison to last month's data, and you can see changes up or down based on what you're doing. So if you're dropping like a rock, with a Google update that's coming through, you can see that inside of search queries. You'll see it on analytics because the traffic's just not there. Mm-hmm. But this goes back up the pipe a little bit and shows you why you're not getting the traffic.
Right. One other note is that there is a bing.com/webmasters as well.
That's right.
And, there's only 15% of the market, but you need to put your site in there as well when you're optimizing. And they do have resources, and it's always good to have a backup.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a very good point. And on top of that, the Bing actually got out the gate first with their disowning of negative links that are out there. So, I mean, you got a whole mess of links coming to your website, and some of them you can't control, and you don't want that value passing over to you. Bing's actually allowing you to negate that. Mm-hmm. I don't want that link coming to me, and Google has yet to do that. So they actually beat them to the punch on that one. The search engine announcement tool, the notification tool, they've got a new messaging environment, this new notification on the search query changes. It informs you of any big changes in traffic due to search query changes. So there's a new alert that will notify you if any major changes in your search query to your site, major changes like impressions or clicks. That's often related. Some of these changes may be expected or some maybe not. So if there's a technical issue, for example, one of our clients a while back started blocking Googlebot from even seeing their website. I know that sounds silly, but I mean it was a firewall mishap. And not only that organization, but a number of other organizations on that same server were blocking Google, and they disappeared. It wasn't you could even find them on their name even. I mean they were gone. And I utilized Google Webmaster Tools to be able to find out just that point is that they were disappearing because they were blocking it, and that fetch as Google bot function inside of Webmaster Tools was that very linchpin, that key point to understand they're not even seeing the bloody site.
Yeah.
So as soon as that happened, that was the watershed moment, and all of a sudden they snapped back into placement stronger than they had it before. In a lot of ways, because we were optimizing at the time. But you can imagine the customer dismay is like, hey, you just optimized. My site's not even there. It's like, well, we got to figure out something. What's going on here?
Oh, yeah. The alarm's going on.
Oh, yeah. Better believe. They were out of pocket for about 3 months, and it was just scary business. And we were looking at a lot of different things, and it was an unfortunate period of time, but we were able to right ship for them very, very within a quick click as soon as we found that. All right. Well, you're talking to John Thompson, Aaron Sparks with Site Strategics from Edge of the Web Radio on 1430 News Talk, WXNT. We're going to be coming back talking a little bit about mobile search, John. Check us out. Don't be a piece of cyber driftwood. Come on back, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.